Welcome to the Jamodi podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is Jamodi, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, we are all searching for ways to better evaluate players in order to give meaningful feedback. Over 15 years ago, I put together a test called the Jamodi Skill Rating. The JSR takes players through a series of tests involving basketball skill or athleticism, giving them one rating at the end. Their JSR rating will give you clarity on what needs to be discussed with players and parents on areas they need to focus on improving. I test our players at least 4 times each year. They're able to compete against each other, past players' scores, and most importantly, their past performances. If you'd like to start testing your athletes, email me at jamodipodcast@gmail.com for more information. My high school coach, Tommy Thomas from the Colony, was there when it opened for 17 years, so for a long time. And there's a part of me that at Faith, I've been here for only 11 years now, so not nearly 46 like you've been in it. But I like to think that, like my high school coach did, staying at one place for a long time, building something, like you said, a program, and even though it's hard now, and having this word legacy maybe out there. What is it about you that is being at one place for 40 years? Has it always been the goal to have something like that?
No, and honestly, it's never even been a thought, And it's like you talk about Tommy Thomas, right? Well, I've known Tommy for years. I've had players from the Colony. Harold Baber was a player.
I was going to bring his name up. Yeah.
And Tommy had, what was the Williams kid?
Yeah, Coach, my claim to fame is that when I was a senior, Darren was a sophomore with Bracy Wright, who was another phenom. They were the same age. Coach, for that year, I think I was a little bit better than Darren. And then I went off to Baylor, and I came back the next year. He was a junior, and that sucker was so much better than me. He had grown, and he was just so good. But anyway, keep going.
Did you play for Scott at Baylor?
I played for Dave Bliss for 3 years, and then going into my senior year, Coach Drew came in after the program fell apart. So I know what it's like to play with 6 scholarship players and 5 walk-ons. I don't know what it's like to have brand new teams like it is now, but
yeah, those were the days, Bo. Scott's a good friend of mine too, but Tommy's you were fortunate to play for him, and that's what we're talking about as longtime coaches. We say a statement like think of all your players, and 20 years from now, how they're going to be talking about how fortunate they were to play for you because you stuck around, you cared about Faith, you cared about them, you cared about, making sure that they became men. Yeah. And that's what's really happened here. I didn't have 5 years became 10, 10 became 15, 15 became 25, and all of a sudden it's 40 years. And there's no, I wanted to be here I never thought I'd be here 5 years. I mean, I thought I'd go to Oakland, I'd coach a couple of years, I'd get the UCLA job, and then I, make millions and millions of dollars, retire on an island somewhere, all those dreams that you have when you're a young coach, win 20,000 national champions, those things just go to the wayside as you do your job, and the days come off the calendar, and you're so focused on what you're doing that, I think when I say that, though, I think the certain type of individual that I am allowed that to happen. I think there's a lot of types of individuals in this business that what I have done couldn't have happened. I'm not saying it's good or bad or somebody's better than the other.
Right.
I just think I'm a guy that, kind of goes to that idea. I just want to be good every year, right? It's not like I was chasing something. Oh, my job's not good enough, I want that job. It's just the type of individual I am, where consistency, I just want to be consistent. I want to do my job every day. I'm lucky to have my job. I'm glad that they want me still to be here. Do I have aspirations? Would I have liked to have been the coach at Michigan or Michigan State or Ohio State or something? Sure, I would have. Mm-hmm. But it's not something I chased. And there's a line to a song that I've used quite a bit to try and explain it. and it's a Sheryl Crow song, and uh, it's not getting what you want, it's wanting what you've got. And I think that's yeah, I can tell by the look on your face. It's a very
Yeah, I know
powerful,
the song. Yeah.
yeah, and especially if you step back and you've lived the life that I've lived, it's easy to say that because I think it's proof that it was never getting what you wanted. Because if you want something out there, you go after it, right?
Hmm.
And I think especially coaches, especially the way coaches are built, if there's something out there they want, they try to go get it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just I must have always wanted what I had because I was content. I don't know how it got to 40 years. I hate it that everybody talks about that because it says you're old, right? I mean, I've spent the whole year. Behind
Coach,
text,
I'm not calling you old. I'm not seasoned.
yeah, there you
Seasoned.
go. Behind texted me when he retired and said it's yours now, you know. And I text back, I don't want it, you
Wow.
know. I don't want to be the longest tenured coach because everywhere you go, that's all they talk about. And then it's that's the old guy, right?
Mm.
So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. And to your point, not at all speaking badly about those guys that do have a 5, 10, 15 year plan and want to get to the highest level of their classification, whether there's a high school coach or not. And maybe it's a little bit, I don't know if there's something in your past or your high school coach or your family or people that influenced you, but that year with Coach Drew, watching how hard those guys had to work and how much they're away from their families did influence me from really never wanting to be in the college world. I just saw that we were in Hawaii at a tournament and those dudes are on their phones the whole time working and grinding. And not that everybody has to do that, but they were that driven. And I didn't know if I could be at that level and be that driven. I think maybe important for coaches is to really think about who they are and what they want. I feel like I'm a little bit more in your camp of if God, and I'm a believer, if God wants me here, I'll be here for as long as it is, and not necessarily looking for something. But I think it's a little bit about maybe my experiences that lead me to that feeling.
Well, and you got to also understand that the rewards are the same. The
Mm,
rewards that you have at Faith are no different than the rewards I have at Oakland, and
mm,
they're no different than Tom Izzo's rewards at Michigan State. The difference are monetary and how many people know or watch, right? I've had so many people reach out to me after the Kentucky win that have known me forever and say, we're so happy that the whole world got to see what you've done.
mm.
And my answer to that is I never needed the whole world to see it, right? I just want to win.
Yeah,
And I have no care that the whole world knows, or that the whole world watch that game. I think it's cool, and we're using it in recruiting, and we're not monetizing it, but we're you
yeah,
know
capitalizing on it.
capitalizing. That's the
Yeah.
word I want exactly. We're trying to capitalize on it. All
Mm.
right, but honestly, for me personally, I mean, it's crazy the amount of people that want my time now. It's crazy the amount of people that want to take selfies. That it's just unbelievable crazy, but it's not something that motivates me. I make jokes about it and it's cool and stuff like that, but it's it the reward is no different than what you went through, what I went through, what Izzo went through. It's no
Mm.
different. It's just there's as I said, there's more money and there's more exposure.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that because I think a lot of people would ask or wonder what is different about life, and just kind of hearing how grounded you are in your past and what you've done, and it's just I don't know, it's kind of cool and refreshing I think to hear. I wonder how many coaches are out there like that are just being faithful where they are that you'll never hear their name. They never get that opportunity to for a lot of people to know about them. I gotta feel like coach, there's a lot of them out there.
Oh, there are. I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, that's what we do, though, right? That's what drives us. That's the why. And so you just show up to work every day and do your job.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the Jamodi podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.